We make our way to Chiang Kai-Shek College in Tondo, Manila, one of the biggest institutions of higher learning in the country for Chinese Filipinos, where Dory has made great strides in reforming Chinese language education in the community. Happy Chinese New Year.
Oh, happy Chinese New Year too.
This time is also a good time to celebrate education and how it's preserving our culture and heritage. Now, as an educator, you're really helping the Chinese Filipino community appreciate their ancestral language. And you've done a lot to reform education. Tell us about your initiatives here at Chiang Kai-Shek.
When I came, that was 5 years ago, most of the Chinese schools here are having problem with educating the Chinese in the Chinese curriculum, because most of the kids, they were saying, I hate Chinese. And then I was thinking about that and look at the situation where the reason why they cannot really absorb what they're learning is because the approach, the teaching approach, because when I was a student here, we were first language speaker. We mean, although I'm not a Mandarin speaker, but we speak very good Hokkien. Our grandmother and our parents, they don't speak Filipino.
So
and
so
we really start focused at home. When we attended school, then we start learning Mandarin through the Hokkien. But then we keep, the community in the Philippines, Chinese community is Hokkien or Minnan speaking community. It's not a Mandarin speaking community. But in the past, when the teaching approach was for first language, it was okay for us. The new generations now,
they don't speak it.
They don't speak it anymore because mainly they were brought up by their yaya. And so, but then the Chinese community remained to be a Hokkien speaking community. But then you were teaching them Mandarin in the school, and at that time there was a policy where no Hokkien will be spoken in the school or in the classroom. And so they cannot relate to the language. And also all the textbooks, the teaching approach. The first thing I did is to change the textbook. For the textbook and the approach, it's mainly geared towards a second language learners. Strictly speaking, Mandarin is not even a second language. It's almost like a foreign language to us, because there was no Mandarin speaking community here. But then I also encourage them to revive speaking and learning Hokkien, because that is very useful for our students to interact in the Chinese community.
So when students come out of here, they have several languages.
So what I'm promoting now is like, at least our students should be like us. They have to be very good. They can read and speak English, read and speak Filipino, read and speak Mandarin, but only speak Hokkien, because Chinese has one system of writing only.
Yes,
yeah.
Okay.
Chiang Kai-Shek College was built in 1939. But at that time, it was just wooden house. At that time, there were only about 200-something students.
It was a high school.
It has a high school, yeah. But now, everything is now very modern. Yeah. And these are all, we built, all these buildings were built from, donations from our alumni.
Amazing.
Yeah. But our senior high school and college, are in Nara.
And you're building a new campus.
Yes, we are building in Silang, Cavite, and it's a bigger one.
You have some memorials here.
Yeah, this is actually a memorial commemorating about 14 of our students and teachers who were killed during the Japanese time. They got involved in this kind of like underground guerrilla movement, and they were caught and killed by the Japanese. This is Christian, one of our best students, and he is pure Filipino.
Yung father ko, amazed po siya sa quality ng math ng Chiang Kai-Shek, and gusto niya rin po ako mag-aral ng Chinese for future use. Sanko.
Sanko? Wow, Sanko. So I'm sure you know your Chinese is a lot better than so many of your same grade level.
Well, at first, mahirap since wala po ako nung pinaka-basic Chinese foundation. Pero with hard work and perseverance, kaya naman po yan, maka-cope up and minsan compete na din with other Chinese students.
We get to know more about educator Dory Poa with a quick round of questions. What was your favorite subject in school?
Chinese literature.
What was your worst subject?
Math.
What is your favorite Chinese New Year tradition?
Getting together with the family and eating some food that we don't normally eat.
What are the Chinese traits that you're most proud of?
Very hardworking and frugal, and sometimes it's very practical.
What would you say are the best Filipino traits?
Filipinos are very accommodating, very patient.
Favorite Filipino food?
Sinigang and adobo. And lechon.
Dory comes from a family of educators, which inspired her to pursue a career in the same field.
My father used to be also a principal of a Chinese school. My mother used to be also a teacher, and then Chinese teacher. I love Chinese literature. You know, I was reading novels during the class, not listening. And then we look up to our teachers.
You really respect the
teachers. We respect them, and then this is what we wanted to be. It
was a dream for you to become a teacher.
Yeah.
Even if your parents didn't force you.
I never thought of doing anything else. Actually, when I started teaching, when I graduated from Chinese senior high, I taught in elementary first. I actually taught in Grace Christian High School.
Yes.
I taught there for almost 10 years. I taught in elementary and then high school. And then after I finished my BA degree in our college, Chinese literature, I went to UP to take up Asian Studies, Masters in Asian Studies. And then I started teaching also Chinese there at the Asian Center.
You did your doctorate at Stanford University in the U.S. and you lived around the world. You taught also language course, Chinese around the world.
I taught because after I finished my fellowship there, then I was actually teaching the advanced Chinese at Stanford.
And you taught in the U.S., Taiwan, Hong Kong. You were in Australia. What made you decide to come back?
To retire.
You're supposed to, retire, but you're not busier than ever.
Yeah.
So you came back in 2012.
I became busier. Because I was telling my husband, we're talking about, I've been working since I was 19 and teaching, and then it's about time we should retire, and then we should do some gardening, relax, Yeah. But then this is my retirement.
You've done so much. You've reformed the education system here. Where do you see Chiang Kai-Shek going? I mean, do you have other plans?
The way I look at it, like we should really keep up with the time. So our logo now is like we are bridging to the 21st century education. Especially we are in so-called the Chinatown. And Chinatown usually are very conservative, but then we're just trying to. I think we cannot stay like that to be competitive,
You also started an international baccalaureate last year.
Yes. We are on our second year. My main motivation is also to let the other teachers and students and parents see that education, the approach or learning can be fun, and also it should not be just memorization and just grades. The most important is for the kids to learn, and then for them to be an independent learner, and then to love learning.
Yes.
Yeah. And teaching should also be fun.
Well, I've been working with her since 2013 when she became our president, and she's a very focused person. She knows what she's doing. She's really determined. The campus has really transformed from what used to be, let's say, major old structures into something more modern now and really suited for the needs of our students.
What gives you most fulfillment in this vocation?
I just to go out there out in the campus and see all the kids running around, playing, and sometimes they come and hug me and say, "Oh, good morning, good afternoon, Dr. Poa." That will make my day.
Are there things that you're still hoping, other dreams you want to pursue? Or
not really. I just want to go back to farming.
Farming, yeah. So that's really what
I love to grow my own vegetables, raise my own chicken.
You have quite a legacy you're leaving behind you. Well, how would you describe your profile?
I'm a teacher, and I'm a good teacher, I can say that. But then I spend also a lot of time preparing for my teaching. I really love teaching, and I love to see my students learning and then liking what I'm imparting them.
You are an inspiration. Thank you very much, Dory.
Thank you also. That's right. Thank you.
Thank you. Which do we say? There's
Yes. Mandarin, you say 恭喜发财. In Cantonese, 恭喜发财. But in Hokkien, we say 恭喜發財. It could mean that congratulations, you become rich. Or congratulations, may you become rich.